Wayfeather Media presents Clairvoyaging. Hi, welcome back to Clairvoyaging.
Welcome.
I'm Lauren Leon.
I'm Frank Leon.
And we're so happy that you are here with us on our journey to developing our intuition.
And yours.
And yours. This is fun. So today...
That sold me.
This is fun. Today we are going to a little bit deeper into talking about the gifts that we plan to develop, because that's what this is all about. But first, we kind of wanted to discuss or talk about the gifts and connections that we already have. You know, they say you can develop your intuition, like we said, and we want to see where is our jumping off point, and is it those gifts that we're increasing? We think so. So that's where we're starting.
We think so. And just to be clear, listeners, these first two episodes are pretty unstructured. I don't know how structured we want to be. We want this to be pretty authentic and stuff. But yeah, we're kind of just winging it for a minute here until we get started. We'll talk about what's coming up for the future of the podcast. But
we do have a focus for this episode, which is, do we got any gifts?
Do we got gifts? What gifts do we got?
So that's what we're going to be talking about. And I guess I'll just start with, I don't know, family history.
Let's start. No, before we do history, Lauren, who are you?
Oh, no. I've been asking myself that for years.
How's it going?
It's not good. I'm a stranger. I'm Lauren.
What do you do?
I'm an artist. Creative person. I write.
What kind of stuff do you make?
Sing. I don't really dance. We write short films, pilot, and
this is rough.
Wow.
Here, I'll introduce you. Lauren is a Southern California native who grew up in and around the music industry, as her father is a very accomplished musician. When she was in her teens, she started performing her own music. And then I met her from when we started playing in a band together. And then we got married and have kids and all that stuff.
Wow. Thank you.
That's the basics. Now, what do you...
Thank you for the nutshell version of myself. It is helpful to have someone else just kind of boil it down too.
Yeah, boiled.
Yeah. Frank is a Southern California native and also musician, was in a band through his high school years.
We diddle in the rock and roll and folk music. Anyway.
Then we started writing other things together as well. And here we are in a new creative venture. I don't know.
Yeah. And like Lauren said, we also do some writing. We do some filmmaker stuff. We have a film that's in a festival circuit right now, loosely inspired by Lauren's brother who passed away that we had mentioned in the last episode.
Yeah, which is actually kind of funny that, I don't know, there's a slight, not spiritual element to our story. We didn't plan for that, but there's like basically a group of friends find a mixed CD that has audio recordings from the late brother, and it's his bucket list. They're doing the bucket list on his behalf. But anyway, part of that spiritual element is that they're voice recordings from him from like 15 years ago. Mitch, our director, likes to call him the voice of God almost, but
the famous Mitch Yapko.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of cool. There's like this connection to the other side, but not really.
I have one more quick question for you, Lauren. What do you do for a living right now?
I'm an operations coordinator for a family foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you, Frank?
Me, I work for a wellness company that has retreats, and all my colleagues are doctors. So you know where I fall in that lineup in terms of intellect.
Wow. You really talk highly of yourself.
It's part of my humor. I'm a corporate video producer. Yeah, that's what I do. I'm a corporate video producer.
Okay. We have 2 kids and we like doing creative projects, and we're just always working on something artistic or creative, or else we go a little nuts. I was doing improv for a long time, and then I started doing sketch writing. And yeah, if we're not doing something creative, we kind of lose it.
And I think I joined a band last week.
Oh, yeah. You're suddenly in a band.
I'm suddenly in a band
He
again.
texted me. I was like at a kid's birthday party and he was like, by the way, I'm in a band now. Like, okay.
Yep.
With friends.
Reconnected with some old friends, and the band's getting back together.
It'll be very fun. So that's who we are. You're welcome for all of this information.
We know that's why you signed on today.
Now we're going to talk about what gifts we have and how we want to make those a little stronger. We kind of touched on them in episode 1, but we're going to like dive a little bit deeper. So
what you got going on in there, Lauren, in that head?
Not a lot. It's a couple of Skittles just kind of bouncing around.
Couple of skits.
Yeah. So I don't have like a very psychic background or anything, but I do have like, I don't know, a twinkling of it from my mom and my mom's side. When she was a kid, she like the week before JFK died, she was walking home, came into her house, told my grandma the president died. And my grandma freaked out, turned on the TV and was like, why did you say that? That didn't happen. And then a week later, like the exact same thing happened, but he had actually died. So she must have had like a premonition or a vision or something like that. But she's always kind of been a little like...
She's a nonconformist.
Yeah.
In a great way.
But I feel like she has connections to the spirit realm in a way that is just like you don't quite understand.
I feel like all like non-conventional people do. And we love them for it. Yeah.
There's kind of just like a knowing and like a calmness to her. And then, yeah, when I was a kid, I think I have a feeling I probably suppressed some stuff or just forgot about it. But when I was a kid, I told my dad one time he was reading The Velveteen Rabbit, which I loved. And I was 3. He finished the book and I said, every one of us has love inside our hearts, right, Dad? And he said, yeah, that's true. And I said, do you know where that love comes from? And he said, no, you tell me, Lauren. And I said, right from God. And I pointed at his third eye. And he kind of like had a second. Like, who are you?
Just to be clear, Lauren's dad does not have 3 eyes. What Lauren meant is really the spot in the middle of your head where people say your third eye chakra is.
Do most people know what your third eye is?
Well, if you tell someone randomly out of context that, you poked someone's third eye, that's A, sounds rude, and B, there's some kind of triclops.
Okay. So yeah, I pointed to his third eye chakra, which is like supposed to be, I said, right from God, which is interesting because if you're opening up that chakra, that's where your deeper consciousness comes from, right? Like if you're deepening your consciousness.
I think so. Yeah. We're still working on that, figuring what all the chakras are. Yeah.
So that was kind of weird. And I also used to, if I would like, little kids try to give their parents like, I'm going to massage your back or whatever, your shoulders. And I would do that. And then I would shake my hands out afterwards and go, got to get the energies out. And I don't know, that's kind of a funny little, I don't know why I even said that or what I thought that meant, but it's kind of interesting that now I'm going to now I'm going to learn Reiki, which is all about energy and removing energy from your body and moving it around. And
it was a little pre-K Reiki, little pre-K Reiki.
Yeah. So the other connection that I've had is through dream visitations, which I actually want to do a whole episode about that and maybe have a guest or something. But I've had a connection with my brother who passed and a couple of friends. They've come to me in my dreams and it feels like more than just a dream about that person. As soon as I wake up, it's like, oh, they were here. I was talking to them. I was talking to their spirit. It doesn't happen in real life. So whatever connection that I have, it would be interesting to develop that outside of when I'm sleeping. I don't necessarily, like Frank does, I don't necessarily want to see a ghost, but
hold on. That's undecided.
Yeah.
Undecided.
But to get information or messages or something, or that knowing that some psychics have, I'm open to that. That sounds interesting. Or like, cool, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think the whole point of the podcast in the first place, we are wanting to like be more in control of that. What's so far an occasional connection to spirit. We want to have a little bit more control over it and be able to initiate it on command if possible, or at least to be, open to it at any given point, so that if there is some kind of message or something that can come through to help us or help someone around us, that would be sweet.
Yeah. So another way that I want to kind of create this connection or strengthen this connection is through Reiki. I've been drawn to it, and I've really only had one Reiki session done on me, and it was only like a month or two ago. And it was really peaceful and nice. She did the whole session. I haven't been that relaxed in a long time. And at the end of it, she was like, "You have a lot of energy." She was like, "You are like a powerhouse of energy," which I don't even know what that means. But she's like, "You must have been a healer in another life." And I was like, okay, I don't know exactly what that means, but she was like, "It's not the kind of energy for, I don't know, like someone doing administrative work or something." And I started laughing because it's kind of what I do. But she was like, "Yeah, you just like, there's more there or something." So I've been interested in trying to learn it for myself, and so that I can do it for other people. So in the process of trying to figure out where I'm going to take class or where I'm going to learn from, I've been looking at like, what is Reiki? What is it even? And part of the process is called attunement, which
who are you learning Reiki from?
Her name's Jules.
Jules Davis.
Jules Davis. And so it's a 2-day, all day thing, both days. I'm learning Reiki level 1 and level 2. There's a process called attunement. And I think from what I understand, it's like the Reiki teacher like puts the Reiki in you? Puts the ability to do it like into your body, like almost like gives you the gift or connects you or something. Like only a Reiki teacher can do an attunement. It's like getting aligned with the universe or with the spirit world or something like that. And it's opening up your chakras. So I'm a little nervous, excited, but also kind of like, oh, like what? Especially because I've heard someone say like we said it in episode 1 that they started seeing dead people after they did their
like a first session. Yeah.
Well, like the attunement thing. I think that's when she like walked away from Reiki class and then went into her house and she's like, "Oh, now I see dead people and I don't know how to get rid of it." And she never did, but now she helps people. But I'm interested to see if I like have a vision or get any messages, or knowing me, I'll probably just cry.
Probably.
But there's like a healing process in that attunement. And I think then to get to like be a master Reiki level, then you have to kind of practice for, I don't know, like 6 months to a year or something like that. And finally be ready to do the master level.
And whatever that is, we will report.
Yeah. So I'm kind of excited to learn how to heal myself. Frank, you're going to be quite a guinea pig for me. Hope you're ready.
I have lots of boo-boos.
1, I'm going to take your dumb out. I'm going to Reiki your dumb out.
Yeah.
And then
new merch on the way, by the way.
2, I'm going to align your chakras. Maybe we can fix your tummy.
You're going to fix me?
Yeah. So anyway, it'll be fun to update you, Frank. Directly you.
Oh, not the listeners.
It'll be fun to update you.
See, you have to address the listeners or me.
I know.
Yeah, I'm excited for an update. Lauren showed me Jules gave her some homework in advance where she gets to learn I had no idea this was part of it. It's basically like Doctor Strange, like hand motions and stuff that you have to learn. And there's like a particular order that you have to do all these swishes and swipes in the air like you're writing cursive.
They're called Reiki symbols.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
but it's a very particular curvature and like the way you move your hand. There's like a circular thing, and
I haven't seen you practice.
You saw me do it when I first got it.
Oh, you showed me. And I was like, that's more. I didn't know this was part of it. And that seems like a lot. I'm not very good at memorization.
There's only 3 symbols.
Well, that third one is about 500 lines.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I've been practicing in my mind's eye.
Have you?
No.
Okay, you can. This is this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to be tested on it too.
This is just so you know, this recording is occurring on October 12th in the year 2023. It is a Thursday. Lauren will be attending the session on Saturday, after which we will report. Lauren's going to do a special report on it. We're going to send her with a mic, and so she's going to do we didn't get permission to record any sessions or anything, which, yeah, I don't think we're going to do that quite yet. Lauren's going to go there. She's going to bring a mic. She's going to give us her like a post Reiki session.
A debrief.
Debriefs.
And I might just be crying or something. So
really? No one wants to hear that.
No, it'll just be me crying. You'll hear me weeping. And it'll just be 20 minutes of weeping.
Lauren got a hat from Shein. It was like $3.
Yeah.
What does it say?
It says, I'm pretty cool, but I cry a lot.
And it's true. It's true.
You know, a lot of people really like that hat and they say, I feel that too.
Well, see, everyone's got secrets.
And I say, I'm glad to connect. I'm glad we're having this moment about how cryy we are.
Cryy.
Yeah. Frank.
Yeah?
What gifts do you tell me a little bit about your family history and what gifts you have and what you're looking to develop?
So where did this all start? The only story that I've heard so far from my side of the family is that my great grandfather on my dad's side, I believe it was my grandma's, I should say my abuela's dad. They were living in Cuba. He was a healer, but like in a pretty intense way. Supposedly he could like heal people with his hands and all that stuff. But also the rumor is that he was able to hurt people too that way.
Ooh.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
But he said he could, but didn't.
I feel like that's like a superhero thing where like they use their power for good.
Yeah. And if what I heard is that when anybody kind of like was skeptical in his direction, he was also able to like stop clocks. So he would say, he'd tell somebody else, see that clock on the wall, and he would like point at it and it would stop. I don't know what that's all about. And then apparently at his funeral, like at one point, I can't remember exactly what was said. We should interview my aunt at some point. But I think there was like a big gust of wind that like basically knocked everybody backwards at some point. Yeah.
Ooh.
Did I tell you that one?
No, that's very fun.
Yeah. I don't remember why, but yeah, my Aunt Dulcie will know.
He was sending a message.
I guess so. So that's the most concrete. That's the most concrete story I know of. But then again, like everyone has stuff. They just don't talk about it, right? So for me,
or they question their stuff,
or they question their sanity, or just like not cool to talk about. I was listening to a podcast about it today, and like so many of the past generation was just like, oh yeah, we all experience this, but like don't talk about it outside the family because you know it's weird. People don't like that, and let's make that not a thing. My personal history, I grew up going to like Catholic elementary school and junior high and 2 years of high school. And I'd say that without offending anybody, I do consider myself now post-Catholic. Some people use the term recovering. And the only reason I use that term is just because of, you know, like it really opens your mind to the spiritual side of things, the things that you can't see, like behind the veil stuff. But in a very specific context of anything that like strays outside of that context can be considered evil. So in my teens, I kind of walked away from that, much to my friends and my family's chagrin. And, you know, but since like, I think I'm still friends with a lot of those people, like they understand why. They understood at the time too.
Organized religion is not for everybody.
It's definitely not for Frank.
That's okay.
But yeah, like, but that all like really opened my mind up to the possibilities of stuff. So a lot of what I had to do then was kind of recontextualizing all this stuff that I was, you know, interested in and like trying to fill the void that organized religion had left in me. For a while, I just didn't pay attention to anything like that. Also, when I was a kid, I was extremely, extremely empathetic and sensitive to other people's emotions.
You didn't want rocks to feel alone.
Oh, man. I think that's more a psychological thing.
No, I mean, it's being sensitive.
Yeah, when I was like 3 or 4, I would walk past like piles of rocks and feel like they needed a friend. I don't know what that is. I really think that's maybe a chemical imbalance, possibly. But
no, it's just loving the earth and wanting everyone to be included.
I suppose so. And then eventually I got around to learning a little bit about Buddhism, not in a way where I was looking for something else to be kind of indoctrinated into, but just the general practices of meditation and all that. I have a book here by the current Dalai Lama, and I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's called The Stages of Meditation. That book taught me a lot about just like respecting people and respecting things and acknowledging the spiritual nature of all things. And also, like the title of the book implied, learning how to meditate correctly. So for a while, I got very much into just meditating, and it was super amazing. I had a little bit of a hard time, though, then when it came to trying to reintegrate back into like my normal life of having like a crappy job. I was in my early 20s, right? And it's hard to go back and forth between that spiritual side and that very human side of having to work for a living and pay your bills. And can I afford a taco today? That's very specific.
That's a life goal. Affording tacos whenever you need it.
Afford your tacos. So, I mean, life happens and I got a little distracted, and people get distracted from like developing their spirituality and developing their spiritual practice, which I did. I got busy and I forgot a lot. But right before I did, I got so deep into meditating that I had started to learn about astral projection, which is the state of sleep that you go into right before you actually fall asleep. It's basically putting your body to sleep and not your brain, from what I understand, as far as like a medical standpoint goes. So it's like initiating sleep paralysis, and you get to a sense of like actually leaving your body, and I was able to see the room around me and all this stuff. But whenever I would do it, I was so excited, but almost immediately every single time, whatever room I was in, the door would open. In my mind's eye, the door would open, and there would be like, I don't know, like 5 to 7 like shadow figure people come, like glide in at a speed that was uncomfortable to me and surround the bed, and I wasn't able to move. So when you're in the state of sleep paralysis, you're only able to move your like fine motor muscles, right? So like your fingers, blink your eyes and stuff. And like, so, you imagine me, I'm sitting here laying here thinking I was going to enter this cool meditative state where I can go float around, I don't know, like punk my little brother or something. And suddenly I'm surrounded by creeps and
staring at me,
and I can't move. And I couldn't make out facial features or anything. I was able to initiate this astral projection 10 times or so, and every single time the same thing would happen. And when Lauren and I first met, we went and played a show in New York, and we were staying at her dad's place. She remembers like it would happen. I would enter the state of astral projection on accident. So I would start to fall asleep, and then I'd get stuck. I wouldn't be able to move my body, but I was still awake. And I was so afraid of seeing those shadow people that I would like almost jump awake, but like half yelling.
Yeah.
And so I did it in front of my entire band one time, which was really, really just a good feeling to have to explain to everybody. Oh, sorry.
I accidentally astral projected.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Never mind. You
wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't get me.
I had never even heard of that. I didn't know what that was. So I was like, this dude is nuts.
He's bananas.
But I do wonder what those shadow people are.
So I've read,
are they your guides? Are they angels? Or are they just like a bunch of creeps?
Well, I've read into it a little bit, but it's been a while because I like kind of got to a place where this wasn't happening to me. I've tried to do it since, and I can't. It's hard. When I read into it a little bit, apparently this happens to some people. It could be your spirit guides or just people that are excited to see you, on the other side. When like a little dog is very excited and like he approaches another dog and like it kind of freaks him out a little bit. That's how the spirits are to me. It's like, oh wow, suddenly there's a lot of things in front of me, and I'm horrified and fight or flight mode.
I mean, if it was a bunch of puppies, that'd be okay.
Give me all the puppies. No. So they might be spirit guides. I don't know. And all the fear is not coming from them necessarily, but coming from my discomfort of the situation, because that shit's scary.
Well, yeah. Also, you watch enough scary movies as you do.
Well, that's the thing.
And then it's like, oh God, what am I dealing with here?
That's the thing, right?
Everyone talks about entities in scary movies as like these evil beings or something, but in a lot of cases, an entity is just a dead person that is now a spirit.
Just dead people. Yeah. So since, like I said, like I've determined that those things weren't necessarily bad. It was just my fear of the unknown, and like that's not a common situation. You don't train for that. I want to get back to a place where I can do that again. whatever it was, because it felt like something that could have been very useful and cool. Like that's a pretty unique thing. I don't know. Again, no one talks about this stuff, so I don't know how common this kind of thing is, but it felt like a little bit of a superpower of some kind. So that's one of my tips of the iceberg situations here, where that might be something that I can develop. I'm not sure. And as well as like last episode, we talked about a little bit of my intuitive knowing and being able to like help people navigate difficult situations for them. That intuitiveness, again, isn't like from me thinking about it or logic. It's almost a feeling things through other people. So it's not like an ego thing, nothing like that. It's a fully like I sometimes am able to help people in ways that even surprise me. And I just can't take credit for it. So I'm assuming maybe that's something too. So that's kind of my story and where I'm at. And I thought I wanted to do Reiki, but as soon as I saw those hand motion things, I thought, no, I can't do that. It's going to take more practice than I thought. But if you come back and you're like, oh, I can see ghosts now, I'll be like, sign me up.
Okay.
And again, not because I want to see ghosts, but just because I want that fly by night, I have powers thing now. So
you can't undo I see ghosts now.
Oh, I know you can't see, but if you know what I've heard is that if it's going to happen anyway, so it might as well happen now.
But also with me doing Reiki, I can at some point probably teach you, or at the very least,
I think you have to become
the healing sessions that you
can do that.
You need.
Yeah.
We all know you need them.
Okay, we've talked about how I feel all the time. Maybe I should mention this real quick. I suffer from raging anxiety. I stopped playing music for a long time because I couldn't really deal with it anymore. Transparency and normalizing of mental wellness here too.
Yeah.
I started taking Prozac, and that helped me immensely. It was getting to the point where I hated doing everything because everything gave me anxiety. I feel much better now. Lauren, how much better am I now than I was before?
Oh, it's a huge difference.
This show is sponsored by Prozac. It's not.
No, but we were about to have our second kid, and you were, or even when we were on set doing something that we really love doing, when we were shooting Remix, you were like, I wish I was having more fun because I feel like I should be, but I just feel really stressed.
Oh, I was like a shaky chihuahua. I hated every minute of it. And I'd spent a lot of money on it, a lot of time on it. I was super excited to be there, and I was anxious too. It's funny, you can be excited, happy, and so anxious at the same time. The other option for all of that is that maybe I've heard that like maybe that type of anxiety is a way that like your natural intuitions are trying to come out that they've been suppressed for so long. Like you're a ball of messed up. Yeah, I work with doctors.
Yeah, and they just say ball of messed up all the time.
Oh, you're diagnosed with ball of messed up.
Sir, you're effed. Honestly, though, like, thank you for your vulnerability, because there's a stigma with mental health. There's a stigma with taking medication or needing something to calm our anxiety. And it happens.
Hey, Lauren.
Yeah.
I'd like to share some resources with the listeners.
Oh.
Things we've been listening to.
Yeah,
stuff
that's
like
great.
That. The book I had mentioned in the last episode by psychic medium Chip Coffey called Growing Up Psychic. That was an amazing book to read, and I do recommend it. The other podcasts that we listen to specifically is, I think I mentioned her earlier in this episode too. One of them is called A Psychic Story by clairvoyant Nicole Bigley. She's really cool. And basically that entire podcast is for people who have intuitive gifts and are psychic. It's like psychics talking to psychics, which it's almost like being a fly on the wall for people who aren't trying to prove anything to anybody. It's not like they're testing each other's skills or anything. They're just talking about living with it every day and like sharing really cool stories. Like it's definitely an inspiration for this podcast, except for we're coming from, like we've explained, a less knowledgeable background to people who are trying to break into that skill set and what our journey is. And then another one that I've been listening to a lot. I started listening to this one because I like spooky stories, but I ended up learning so much about how like spirits operate in the world. It's called the Night Owl Podcast by Stephen. I think his last name is Bellew. And that show's awesome. And Steven seems like a really, really cool guy. I can't recommend that show enough. He does like really deep dive ghost hunts, but it's like over the course of multiple episodes, multiple months before anything is posted. He does a lot of work. And on that show, he's had a psychic named Sarah Reeves. Sarah Reeves has a website called Metaphysical You, and I think she does free psychic group. I don't know what it is. It's like a meetup every Wednesday on Zoom. I think they're still doing it. Isn't
it like mediumship kind of?
I think learning? Yeah. It's like just talking things through.
I really like the book Signs by Laura Lynn Jackson. That was something that I read a couple months ago. And
We'll put all this stuff in the show notes.
this will be in the show notes.
This will be in the show notes.
That book was really cool. It's mostly anecdotal. It's a lot of stories about people who have gotten amazing signs from the other side. And just hearing story after story really made me, like I said recently, I feel more connected to my brother now. And I think that's because I'm way more open to like, oh yeah, he's here and he's sending me signs and messages all the time. So I really like that book. It kind of just opens up your understanding of how spirit guides and how people who have passed away can communicate with us. It's really cool.
Yeah. I haven't read that one yet, but I'd like to. Everyone you've told about it seems pretty surprised by how rad it is.
Yeah.
So wrapping up now, these first 2 episodes of our podcast are really just introductory. We're going to get more into doing interviews and talking to people who know way more than us, and also taking you along with the journey of us learning how to do this stuff. As we mentioned before, and multiple times now, Lauren is learning to do Reiki, and that's starting this weekend, and she'll come back with a full report on how it went, how it's going, and she's going to be using me as a guinea pig. I'll
be a completely different person. Yeah, maybe nothing will happen. I don't know. I'm trying to have no expectations, but also it's like, what is this?
I hope okay, hold on. Everyone says talk to your spirit guides all the time, right? Like,
yeah.
Can you ask them, give them permission to make something happen? Make it work.
You want me to see dead people?
No, I don't want you to see dead people. I want you to have
You're trying to dead people me.
I want you to have an epiphany, or I want you to grow into your power. I'm waiting for you to blossom.
Oh,
the beautiful flower you're meant to be.
Thank you.
Right now you're just hideous.
Right now I'm just a little seedling.
You're just a turd in the grass.
I'm a turd in a punch bowl. I feel really good about myself right now.
Good. Yep.
Our marriage is crumbling right as you listen to us.
Oh, this is on par.
So I'm gonna tell my spirit guides. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll tell them.
Do it right now. Show everybody.
Hey, spirit guides.
You got to feel it.
I feel pressured now.
Take a deep breath.
Hey, spirit guides. It'd be pretty dope.
All right. Maybe this is something you're supposed to do in isolation.
It absolutely is.
All right. Sorry for putting the pressure on you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then for me, I'm gonna bite the bullet, and I'm gonna, I might book a session with Jules also, because she does like remote Reiki and healing and
crystal healing,
and psychic readings.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do remote crystal healing, so I feel like aren't you supposed to put crystals on your body and stuff like that?
I know you can do distance Reiki. I don't know about distance crystals.
All right. Well, it's either going to be Jules or it's going to be somebody else. In conclusion, folks,
we love you. And also, if you have a story that you want to share, send it in a voice memo and email it to clairvoyagingpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Visit www.clairvoyaging.com for show notes, merch, or just to say hi. If you'd like to support our journey, visit www.buymeacoffee.com/clairvoyaging. This has been a production of Wayfeather Media.